Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video we are going to be getting something very exciting, something that I've been needing to do for a very long time, and something that I've been looking forward to, and it's definitely going to be very different from what I've ever really done automotive-wise on this channel. So as you guys know, I have my 1974 MGB that we somewhat recently picked up and got it running. It's been sitting for like 13 years or whatever it is, and well, when we got it running we heard a very vicious rod knock. I tried a little bit of a DIY fix, and that was drop the oil pan while the engine's still in the car, throw in new bearings, clean up the rod journals a little bit, and see what happens. And that helped a smidge. It kind of went from a gigantic jackhammer sound down to a normal hammer sound. But I knew from the beginning when I saw that crank, it was going to need a new crankshaft. I don't even think that was possibly, maybe even machinable, how bad it was. So what we're going to be beginning today is pulling out this engine. I already ordered the new crankshaft, and I know you guys are probably wondering, how am I going to pull this out? Well, hold on one sec. So if we take a walk into the shed, don't mind the mess, lots of projects going on right now. I have a brand new engine hoist that I put together and an engine stand that we're going to be rebuilding it on. Yes, it is Harbor Freight brand, but honestly I'm sure it's going to do just fine. And fun fact, this hoist was the hardest thing I've ever put together in my life. It was such a pain in the neck, but it's finally together and it should work. Has up to 1 ton capability. And that engine is very small and very light. It's basically NASCAR's engine, so this should do just fine. And this engine stand is a half ton, I believe. Yep, half ton, so, I mean, that's 1,000 pounds. I doubt that engine is even close to 1,000, so this should be fine as well. So I would definitely like to try and get this engine pulled in one video. That would be ideal. I mean, based on the looks of it, it looks pretty simple. Basically just what I'm going to start off with doing is just taking off all of the plumbing, all of the wiring from the engine, you know, all of just like the random stuff, the vacuum lines. And then once I'm done with that, I'll deal with like the radiator, getting all that fluid out of there, and just all of the random plumbing stuff that has to come off. And then once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and deal with, like, you know, the main stuff, like the engine mounts and the bell housing bolts and everything like that. Might have to jack up the car to get underneath for the other bell housing bolts. Not sure how well you're gonna see that, but the couple on top seem relatively easy to get to. Hopefully they're not impossible to get off. And yeah, we'll just see how this goes. I mean, this wouldn't be my first time pulling an engine. I think maybe the hardest part is actually going to be hoisting up the engine. I might have to pull off the hood for that. I mean, it's pretty simple, just 2 bolts on either side, and things should just come right off along with just like the latch. But yeah, I'm just going to set up a time lapse and just go to town on this thing. I'm probably just going to take pictures and maybe label some stuff, so when it's time to put it all back together, I know where everything goes and nothing is really a big headache. So guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and begin trying to tear out this engine. Alright guys, so quick update, you know, just in between taking things off. There's really not much left to do, you know, like accessory wise. I'm probably just going to pull off the alternator, the starter, and then we should be good to start taking off the engine mounts and the bell housing bolts. And then this engine should be free. And I was just looking over here, I might have to take off this little front, like, shroud piece. It does look like it does come off. I mean, there are a ton of bolts holding it in, but I do believe it slides out. Not 100% certain if I do have to, but it seems like I will, because the fan lifting out probably won't clear that. But once we get closer to actually pulling it out, then I'll see about that. So just real quick, I'm gonna go ahead and pull those 2 things off, and then I'll catch you guys back once it's time to start taking off the main components holding this engine in there. Alright guys, so the alternator is off and the first bolt for the starter is off, but I have to jack up the car to get to the other bolt, and plus I'm going to have to jack it up anyway to get to the bottom bell housing bolts. So let's just go ahead and do this real quick, set it down in the jack stands, and then continue. just finished up taking off the bottom bell housing bolts. Now there's just like 3 or 4 left around the top that I should be able to grab over here, no problem. And then once I'm done with that, as far as I can see, just the engine mount bolts, and then maybe this, we'll see, and then we should be able to possibly lift this thing out. We're moving right along. Alrighty guys, so the radiator and rad support is all out, and I got the engine hoist out here, and I'm about to just start hooking it up and use the chain, which I don't know where it went, but try and figure out the best place to put it. And then once it's on, I'm going to hurry it back to the shed where I'm going to try and get it onto the engine stand. I put it on 3/4 ton. I think that should be good. I mean, honestly, this engine is probably only like 500 pounds or so could probably do 1/4 ton and be completely fine, but hey, it can handle the extra weight, might as well use it. I'm also going to lower the car down just so the engine hoist has as much play as possible to pull this thing out. I really don't know how tall this thing goes, so let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope it works. Alright, so I just lowered the car down, and the car is so low that the dolly actually won't go completely under because it's hitting the control arms. So I'm just gonna have to jack it up a smidge and then slide it under and then pull it out. Once the engine is like out of the car, the suspension should go up and give me enough room to take the jack out, and the dolly should be able to slide away easily. Alright, so I got the jack under there, and now the engine hoist is now nice and snug, but just because this engine sits so far back from like the front of the car, I had to go from 3/4 ton down to 1/4 ton just because I needed that reach. And I just looked up how much an MGB engine weighs, and it's 440 pounds. 1/4 ton is 500 pounds. We'll probably be fine. So now I'm just gonna try and hook up these chains in a way that it won't like snap and kill me, and then we'll just start cranking and try and pull it out as we're cranking it so we don't mess up anything like the clutch or anything. So let's just see how this goes.
Eventually.
Alrighty guys, so my camera memory card went full, so I'm on the iPhone right now, but as you guys saw, the engine is out. I'm very, very happy how everything went pretty much up until getting it onto the soft grass and trying to get it into the shed. And what I forgot was I have to take off the clutch in order to use the engine stand. And right now I just don't have the time today and tomorrow to get it onto the engine stand, so I'm running a little bit fast right now. So what I'm honestly just going to do right now is just leave it on the dolly and just cover it up, probably plug up all the holes and everything, and then just leave it here for now. And then once I get time, I can pull off the clutch and then get it on the engine stand where we can begin the rebuild. So I just wrapped up everything. I just cleaned up around here. I just threw back on the hood. I just laid on there and I made sure it doesn't latch, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get back up if it does latch. But I am going to be ending off this video here. Like I said before, I wish we were able to get it inside the shed and everything, but I just wrapped it all up. It's really all covered up. I just covered up the intake and exhaust holes, so we're all good there. it's really not supposed to be rainy either. But I'm super happy that we were able to get it out in one day. It was a very long day, but we were able to get it done pretty smoothly up until the point of just dragging it through the grass. But next video, we should be working on it and hopefully have the new crankshaft in and just begin the rebuild, get it all taken apart and then put back together, and then we'll end up throwing it back in. And I think I'm going to order some new carburetors for it also, because those just really aren't doing the job. They're really finicky, and I think I'm going to do the Weber conversion when it's a 2-to-1. I've heard really good things about that. But anyway, guys, I'm going to be ending off the video here. Follow my social medias. They'll be on the outro of this video. Instagram and Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends about the channel.